Good morning, it's Anna at Yarn Folk, and I am here with our weekly video recap. First thing I want to point out is that we have our Zoom class with Patty Lyons, the Building a Better Fabric class, coming up next week on Wednesday. So if you've been thinking about taking the class and you haven't enrolled, now is the time to enroll. The other thing to mention here is that enrollment is a two-step process. So, you purchase your class at yarnfolk.com, and then I send you a Zoom video link, and that is a link you need to register at so that you get the reminder when the class is about to start. So, two parts: enroll in the class, register at Zoom when you get the link from me. Fantastic class. Everybody who's taken it is, speaks so highly of it, and feels really empowered by it. So if there's anything that you're a little bit, wishing that you could improve about your knitting technique, this is a great class to give a try. We also have Patty's new book, which is the Knitting Bag of Tricks official workbook. And so that's designed as a hands-on practice, a way to record things that you're trying, exercises that you're trying to improve your techniques, and it pairs really well with the Knitting Bag of Tricks, which we also have in stock. But a lot of you have already purchased the original book. The official workbook is a companion, and also there are great stickers. Franklin Habit designed these wonderful stickers and other items that are in the book, so that's available as well. Okay, we have a few calendar items to touch on. The first one is that next week, not this week, next week, we have some modified hours. So on Monday and Wednesday, we'll be open from 11:15 until 3:30. And then on Tuesday and Thursday, we'll be open from 8 until 9:30 and 11:15 until 1:30. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but that is a schedule change for Monday through Thursday next week. Friday and Saturday will be normal. And then Saturday is when we're going to be welcoming Kim Dyes Yarn to the shop. And we're very excited to have her here. She will be here all day, and she's going to be bringing some of the Stroopwafel DK, which is a merino and silk blend, and she did dye up some more of our shop colorway from our 11th anniversary. I think we sold out of that the first day that we had it, so that will be available limited time again. I believe she's also going to bring some other colors of Stroopwafel DK, and then her sourdough sock is one of her most popular bases. Beautiful merino blend sock yarn. And then we had some discussions about which other base to bring, and she's going to bring her flan, which is a merino and silk fingering weight, and she is an enthusiastic promoter of a really good single ply yarn. So this is a good one, and we'll really look forward to seeing those in person. So that is Saturday, October 19th. On the 22nd, which is just a couple of days later, the Downtown Association is hosting Students' Night Out. We're going to be open until 8 o'clock, and there will be a bonus social stitching. And then, of course, we already talked about Patty Lyons' class next Wednesday. That's also up here on the calendar, but we covered that. So those are the calendar items. Okay, so sometimes we have a thing where we have things that are new in the shop, and I haven't had a chance to tell you about them, and that is the case this week. So we have, speaking of anniversary yarns, I had to plead a special case to do a little bit less than my initial order of our 11th anniversary colorway from Earth Yarns, but we did get more. Um, the first batch was a large batch, but it's one that I decided that we could stand to have some more of it, and just not quite as much as the first batch. So we have this is Yarn Folk 11, and this was our anniversary colorway. I don't have it on me right now, but this is what our Musselburgh sample is made in, and it's a very fun hat. In addition to the shop colorway, we also have other colorways of the unique fingering. So it's a self-striping yarn. You can make socks with it. The other colors, 11 is such a long repeat that there's no repeat of the colors. So if you want to make socks with it, of course you can, but your socks are not going to match. The other colorways, there is a repeat. So you don't get, so even if you don't try to make them match exactly, you don't get such different socks. So we have that. Part of the reason why we brought in some additional colorways is that our favorite self-striping sock yarn dyer, Julia from Knitterly Things, opened a yarn shop in Michigan. So she has been a busy person lately, and she is going to continue doing wholesale dyeing. She knows I want more yarn, but right now we don't have very much of the Vesper sock. We do have, the Earth unique fingering, and then we also have Zauberball Crazy. We've got some nice choices in Opal sock yarn, which is just one of my longtime favorites. It wears so well. It's one of those German sock yarns that just wears forever. And another thing that I forgot to mention when it came in is that we have the Christmas holiday colorway from West Yorkshire Spinners. They do a special holiday colorway every year, and this year it's called Yuletide, and it is a little bit sparkly, and we have that in stock. The other thing that we got last week was a little reorder from Katrinkles. We have the adjustable adult sock blockers. So these are infinitely adjustable. You can make them to whatever adult size you need, both in the width and the length. So it's a very clever design. It's a little bit of a puzzle putting it together, but it's not worse than IKEA furniture, right? We reordered our shop needle gauge. These are nice. They go up to size 17 and they start at 2 millimeters. So those are available again. We ordered the casting on markers. So these are numbered from 25. So there's 25, 50, 75, and then there are 3 markers that are 100. So you can move them along. We also have this acrylic style on pins, and then we have the casting on markers, the ring style, also in wood. And then I couldn't resist these, because y'all like your chickens, is what I'm saying. So this is the yarn chicken marker set. We've got a Rhode Island red. Katrinkles is based in Providence, Rhode Island. I'm pretty sure it's Providence. So we got a little Rhode Island red chickie there. And then we have a variety of little yarn chickens. So this is a really cute set. So that is everything that we also mentioned the Patty Lyons books, but we talked about those already. So I'm going to just touch on the why our hours next week are a little funny. And that is that my dad, Hugh Minor Jr., passed away this past Friday. He had been suffering from Lewy body dementia and Parkinson's disease for a number of years. And that's those types of diseases, you kind of have a very long period of saying goodbye. But he did pass away on Friday. We had my sister and I had the opportunity to connect with him via FaceTime almost every week for quite a while. His last years were spent at the Central Nebraska Veterans Home, and the staff there was so kind in making it possible for us to talk with him via FaceTime for the last little while. My dad was an executive at someplace called Fauner Park. Fauner Park was originally a thoroughbred horse racing facility, and it continues to. That is part of what it still does. But he always imagined it as being a more comprehensive community place. His focus was always on, how this campus, how these facilities could serve the community that I grew up in. And the physical grounds expanded, the buildings and facilities there expanded. And they built an event center that hosts concerts and all kinds of events. The Nebraska State Fair in, I think, 2010 moved to my hometown, Grand Island, which is right in the middle of the state. And it had previously been located in Lincoln, but once there was a place that, on a facilities level could accommodate the number of visitors. This past year, there were over 300,000 visitors during the fair. It was moved to Grand Island because that provided better access for people who lived in western Nebraska, northern Nebraska, places that weren't as populated as eastern Nebraska is. So that's a little bit about his career. He always made a very, very concerted effort to balance his work life. He was a very hard worker with family life. We grew up with, lots of family nearby, and there was just lots of family time that happened in our lives. And that was, in part due to the effort that my dad made to balance things. He was also a really good boss. I've heard so many people say that he was the best boss that they ever had, and I think the reason for that is that he expected as much of himself as he did he expected a lot of his workers, but he gave them ways to accomplish what he expected, and they knew that he was working just as hard as they were. So he was an amazing guy, and his services are next week. And what's going to happen here is that my son, who has been helping me with receiving and some other things like that, is going to step in. He's a student at Central, and the reason why the hours that we're going to be open next week are a little funny is because he'll be here between his classes. So he's going to do his best to help y'all out, and I will be back on Friday. Okay, and very quickly, the last thing I'm going to show you is this is the Mastija cardigan that I've been working on. The yarn is Malabrigo Seis Cabos, and again, that is the new base from Malabrigo. It is 100% merino wool, and it's a non-superwash. It's also a very, it's a 6-ply that is got a tight twist, and you can see that the stitch definition is great. Very pleasant yarn to work with. This pattern is a cardigan. It's a deep V, and the pattern tells me to start the V 10 inches from the edge of the hem. I'm going to go just a little bit longer than that because I think that 11 inches is about where the vertical repeat of the pattern here will end. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish that and then begin the shaping of the neckline. The shaping starts, and then a little bit after that, so the whole thing's worked back and forth right now, but it'll be divided off for the armholes, and we'll be working the fronts and the back flat separately, and then I believe it gets joined with a 3 needle bind off or maybe mattress stitch at the shoulder, and the sleeves might be sewn in. I can't remember for sure. So anyway, this is moving along. This is I still have this much of the second ball, and again, I'm about ready to start the V-neck shaping. So that is my project, and it is a Thea Coleman pattern. I don't remember if I said that. Fun pattern to knit, great yarn to work with. And just because sometimes I forget to mention, this is a Little Bit Alexis cowl in Madeline Tosh DK. This colorway is Wino Forever, and the top portion is Leaf Fall. So that was one that I did as kits for the Have a Ball Fall Crawl. Those kits are up on the website, and this is also a really fun project, but it's done. So, all right, see you next week.